It is good to see you.
Good to see you.
You're
Thanks for
always
having
welcome.
me.
Thank you for taking the invitation. So,
Absolutely.
you and I have seen a lot of states of the Union, although I am much older than you.
You said that, not me.
Well,
so,
it just happens to be.
I'll leave that on the table.
Facts first. That room last night was grossly divided. I've never seen Nancy Pelosi's face like that. The president made some outreach to them, but he was focusing mostly on the Republican side. How can he unify that room?
I think doing exactly what he did last night, and I'm going to be a little bit in disagreement with you. I think Nancy Pelosi looks like that all the time. I think she should smile a lot more often. I think the country would be better for it. She seems to kind of embody the bitterness that belongs in the Democrat Party right now. I think last night was a good step forward. Hopefully they can let go of some of that, and they have to make a big decision. They need to decide, Chris, do they love America more than they hate this president? Are they willing to put some of those differences aside, come together, and do what's right for this country?
The fundamental disagreement is on where's the hate. Because Nancy Pelosi would argue, has argued on this set, that it is righteous indignation that you see coming from her. That the way last night the president identified the people who killed the children of those African-American couples that were there last night as illegal entrants as minors. They took it as code for dreamers. That you're trying to villainize this group of people.
There was no code. The president could not have been more clear. He has laid out exactly what he wants to see in an immigration reform plan. All of the things he has laid out are things that Democrats have supported. Bill Clinton got a standing ovation for using similar language in one of his State of the Union addresses by both Democrats and Republicans. Democrats have voted to end the visa lottery system. They support a pathway to citizenship. These are things that the president has given and laid out a good and solid compromise that, frankly, everybody should be excited about. Democrats and Republicans should both be celebrating. As the president said, everybody didn't get everything they wanted, but the country is getting what they need, and it's time for both Republicans and Democrats to come together and put some of that common sense solution forward.
Message versus messenger. Clinton, some of the language was changed. You know you have problems. You know you have to make the process better in terms of who gets into this country and also whom you decide to throw out. But the motivating ethos from Clinton, the idea was we are our diversity. The feeling is with this president, he sees diversity as a minus. Not one story last night. And by the way, the president did a good job articulating people's stories last night, and it's very powerful for the audience and for the media. But not one about a successful dreamer. Not one. Although he did say all Americans are dreamers, which, again, is not only not true, but I didn't understand the point of doing that.
Look, the president has committed to solving this problem. He has said he wants to find a solution, and he's one out. Democrats don't have a message. They simply are sitting on their hands and being angry instead of coming to the table to have real negotiations.
Because they believe it's a policy of exclusion. Because he has his four pillars.
How is it a policy of exclusion, Chris, when the president, frankly, went further than Barack Obama ever did as president? He has tripled the number of people that he has included in this program. That is the opposite of exclusion. That is broadening the spectrum and taking it a much step further. The idea that Democrats are saying that this president is not being inclusive and is not trying to put an actual solution on the table is frankly laughable, and they should be embarrassed that they are trying to peddle that kind of just false premise, because it's just frankly not true.
Well, the premise is this. With one hand, he gives, pathway to citizenship. Going to be hard to sell in part of your party, by the way. With the other hand, he's taking away. And that there are obviously at least two of these pillars, if not three, are designed to limit who comes into this country and what types of people come into this country, which is what the Democrats are trying to protect against. So the practical problem becomes you have two of them. The first one is this. Do you have two pillars too many? Do you think you can get any deal that goes beyond dealing with DACA and security? It seems like the Democrats will give you security. Vernacular about the wall will be an issue. But the other two may be a bridge too far.
But you can't just do partial security. It has to be the whole thing. Otherwise, we're dealing with this same situation in 2, 3, 4, 5 years. The president doesn't want to kick the can down the road anymore. He wants to be able to sit down with Democrats, sit down with Republicans and say, look, we have a problem with the DACA system. Let's fix it. We have 1.8 million people. Let's give them a pathway. But at the same time, let's make sure we don't find ourselves back here again. That's why you can't just have one or two pillars. You have to have all four. The same reason a stool doesn't work with two legs.
It's too much exclusion.
You've got to have all of that. It's not exclusion, though. It's the safety and security of the American people.
I know, but where's that seen in the facts, though, Sarah? You know, when it comes to the lottery, the selling point is who these people are when they come on. You know that's not true. They get vetted several times. What you call chain migration, which the Democrats call family unification.
Which Democrats have voted to end in the past.
But no. What they've done is to vote for limitations. And nobody's saying that you don't want to improve these processes so you know who's coming in. But the idea of what the president said last night, somebody can literally bring in as many people as they want. It's just not true. It's not true in the facts. It's not true in the reality.
Multiple instances where they are bringing in dozens of people. Look, we're not saying they can't bring in anybody. We're just limiting the number to be the nuclear and the immediate family.
But you're making the exception the rule when you do that. You're making the exception the rule about who gets in here, who commits crimes, who are malefactors. You're making the exceptions the rule. You're painting all of these people with the same brush.
That's not true at all. That's actually what Democrats are doing, is trying to paint the president saying this. Look, the president wants to have people, I've heard him say it hundreds of times, he wants people from all over the world, from all different places to come, but he wants to make sure that they want to come here for the right reasons, that they want to come here to be part of our society, to contribute, to work, to help raise a family, and to make sure that they're not coming here to do harm to American citizens. I think that's a positive. I think everybody in America thinks that's a positive. And I think that's the reason that 75% of the country last night said they liked Donald Trump's speech. There was a poll last night.
There was plenty of stuff in there to like it. We had 48% were highly favorable. Look, it's one thing to say it. It's then what do you do and what do you tweet thereafter? You know, we don't have to go back into the language he used, but he wants people to come into the country, but not from those certain S-hole countries. He wants them rich and white because he wants them from Norway.
Untrue.
And that's not America.
Chris, that's the
I wouldn't be here
that
if
is
that's
the
America.
opposite of what this president has laid out. By very definition, a merit-based system is colorblind. It is absolutely outrageous to claim that it is anything different.
But he said exactly that, Sarah.
Democrats have been begging for some of these things in the past, and now they claim that they're racist. It's just untrue.
But he said it, Sarah.
He said that he wanted a merit-based system. Absolutely.
No, he didn't. He said that he didn't want people from those countries.
I guess I missed you being in the room to hear.
Are you saying that he didn't say that?
The context. I'm saying that you're trying to create a narrative that doesn't exist. You're trying to take words of the president and make them mean something that they don't. This is the president.
Based on the context of all the other things he said about immigrants that is so ugly and so destructive.